Hey, picture this. You come home from visiting family, have some good, awesome quality time, and you are so excited to get back home, except for one small problem. When you walk into your house in the middle of December, your house is 46 degrees, and after a little bit on the phone, you realize that you need to get a new furnace. Yeah, super fun. Hey everybody, Mr. Jamie Griffin here, and today I'm going to talk to you about emergency funds and why it is such a huge step in creating financial security for you and your family, and especially to help you when unexpected things like a broken furnace happen in the middle of winter. So, back to the story real quick. Before we get into the 3 reasons why an emergency fund is an awesome way to set yourself up for financial success and build a good financial security for your family. We came home from Christmas visiting family, and our house was 46 degrees. This is the second time in 3 years that something has happened to our furnace, our heat, while we've been out of town for the holidays. And the last time it was just a broken thermostat. The thermostat battery died. It was a quick fix. We got on the phone with somebody to help us out, and after just a couple $100, we were able to fix that problem. This time, not so much. It turned out one of the motors in our furnaces, and by the way, I have no knowledge of anything about furnaces except for what I talked to our furnace guy about. Apparently we have a furnace guy now. I don't know how many people have one of those. I don't know that I'm happy that I do have one, but we have a furnace guy. His name's Jeff. He's awesome. But we were able to diagnose that we needed a new furnace, and a furnace for our house actually ran $39.50. So $39.50 was the cost for the furnace, the installation, the labor, everything, all combined, $39.50. But that's a pretty significant chunk of money to all of a sudden have to pay. And plus it's the middle of winter. It's not like we could go a few days trying to find the parts or get it replaced. Our best bet was just to replace it. And plus our furnace was 20 years old anyway. It was overdue for getting fixed. So we decided to invest the money to get it fixed right away. That's going to bring us into the 3 reasons why I think having an emergency fund is such a huge deal for your finances, and is just going to set you up for a lot less stress, a lot more comfort and peace of mind, and is going to help you in your overall financial health for your family. And it's also, emergency fund is the baby step number 1. If you follow Dave Ramsey at all, baby step number 1 is get a $1,000 emergency fund, and I 100% absolutely agree with that philosophy, is getting set up with an emergency fund. And today, in this video, get 3 reasons why an emergency fund is such a huge first building block for your finances. All right, reason number 1 that having an emergency fund is so important for financial security is because life happens. And usually when it does happen, it's unexpected. You don't see it coming. You get hit with a curveball out of nowhere, just like us with our furnace. So we're expecting to come home to a nice warm house to relax. We just bought Downton Abbey, the new movie. My wife is a huge fan, and because of that, I'm a huge fan. And I like to talk in a British accent from time to time. I'm not even sure if that's British, honestly. So we had this nice evening date planned after we got our daughter down to bed, and our house was 46 degrees. That was hugely unexpected. It threw a huge wrench in what we wanted to do, and it sucked. I'm going to be honest. But the awesome thing about it was we had set up an emergency fund ahead of time just in case something happened, because we knew it would. History has shown us something is going to happen. We've had heating problems before. We've had our cars malfunction or break. We have pets. If you have pets, like, chances are they're gonna eat something they're not supposed to. You're gonna have to take them to the vet. If you have kids, they're gonna break an arm or a leg. Hopefully not, but they might. And it's good to have an emergency fund to cover that. So when life happens, having an emergency fund is such it's a stress relief. We knew that we had to pay a big chunk of money, $4,000 for a new furnace, but we already had the money set aside ahead of time. We built our emergency fund up over the years to $10,000, and for us that felt really good. It didn't feel good having to spend it, to be honest, but we were covered. We were taken care of. We didn't have to swipe a credit card. We didn't have to scramble for the next several months to make up the money. So reason number 1, life happens. It's usually unexpected, and it's awesome to have money set aside for when that does happen. If you're still with us here, leave a comment down here. What's an unexpected expense you've had, and maybe in the last year that's like $500 or more? Because, like I said, life happens. What's an unexpected life happens $500 expense that you've had to deal with in the last year? I'll leave a comment down below just so we can be all in that, like, sharing that struggle together. So reason number 2 that having an emergency fund is awesome and will set you up for a good financial life is that it brings you peace of mind. Knowing that you have money set aside in case something happens, when something happens, is such a huge stress relief, and it just gives you ease knowing that, hey, if your car starts making a weird noise, you don't have to start hitting the panic button. You can just bring it into the shop. You don't have to try to outlast whatever the problem is. You don't have to self-diagnose anything. You can bring it in and get it fixed. And if it's a huge bill, like, that's what your emergency fund is for when things unexpected happen, they don't fit into your normally monthly budget. It's not for going out on a date. It's not for going out on a trip. It's for when real emergencies happen. And so I found that with our emergency fund, when things have come up, like our furnace, like our thermostat, vet bills, not getting paid, that having this emergency fund really makes us feel better about it. We don't feel as much stress and anxiety. And also there's just less worry in our day-to-day lives. Like I mentioned, if the car starts making a goofy noise, if you start noticing a leak in a part of your house, your dishwasher isn't working right, if you're having to look at a big ticket item or expense, you don't have to worry nearly as much. So I love less worry. I love the peace of mind knowing that I have a big chunk of money in case I need to use it for something unexpected. Reason number 3 that I love having an emergency fund and recommend it to everybody as a first step is that it keeps you from going into debt. If we didn't have an emergency fund set up, $4,000 is a big chunk of money. We would have had to swipe that on a credit card. And here's another little insight to our furnace deal. If we would have put it on a credit card, we would have had to pay 3% fee because the company we were buying it from has to pay a 3% fee, and they would just push that on us. That would have been an extra $120 that we would have had to pay. We saved $120 because we had an emergency fund, and because we paid in cash, we got a $100 discount. So really we saved $220 because we had this emergency fund set up. But if we didn't, we would have had to swipe a credit card, we would have had to pay extra money, and the emergency fund will keep you from incurring more debt, swiping a credit card. And especially if that's something that you've struggled with in the past, that can be a really slippery slope if you get 1 or 2 bigger emergencies stacked on top of each other, like your car breaks down, your furnace goes out, your dishwasher leaks. Those are things that are going to stack. Those are going to lead to a lot of debt and then a lot of future problems with your finances. It's going to affect your monthly budget, your day-to-day budget, and it's just going to create just a snowball of stress. So if you are looking to avoid getting stuck into debt, to get out of debt, I highly suggest getting an emergency fund set up so that you don't have to worry about that as much. And if you are struggling with debt right now, I've created a debt snowball spreadsheet. I'll put a link to it down in the description to help you get your debts all in order so that you can start paying them off in a really systematic way. Because it's a snowball effect, if you think of a snowball rolling down a hill, it pays your debts off a lot faster. So if you're looking for some help paying off debt in addition to get an emergency fund set up, check out the resource, that debt snowball spreadsheet. I've also got another video on that I'll put a link down there as well. All right, so those are 3 reasons why I love having an emergency fund and recommend it to anybody. And now I want to get into one question I get a lot when I talk about emergency funds, which is, how much money should I have in my emergency fund? And my really not super great answer is, it depends. It depends on a lot of things. So when I got married, I had an emergency fund of $1,000, and it took me a long time to do that. Once I started reading Dave Ramsey and his baby steps, but I got a $1,000 set up, which is what I would recommend if you don't have any emergency fund right now. Get $1,000 in at a minimum. From there, it depends on a lot of things. It depends on, do you rent where you live? Do you own a house? Do you have kids? Do you have pets? How many vehicles do you have? How old are those vehicles? Are they thinking they might break down? If you're looking to save up for a new vehicle, how tight is your budget right now? If your budget's super tight, and if you got hit with a $500, $1,000, $1,500 emergency, how would that affect your budget? And overall, what is your job security like? If you're in a job that you are very secure in, you know that you're not going to get let go or moved or transitioned or anything like that, that can affect it as well. So a couple of those things. If you rent, you probably don't need as big of an emergency fund, because if something breaks in your apartment or where you're renting, you don't have to fix it. If you own a house, I would suggest having it a little bit higher. Same if you have kids or if you have pets. Those are other opportunities for expenses to happen, emergencies to happen. Your pets could get hurt. They could eat a whole bowl of rotten eggs like ours did and have a $500 vet bill. Super cool. Or if you have kids, they might get a broken arm, broken leg. Any of those things, I would increase the amount you are paying in your emergency fund or putting in there, because you have a higher likelihood of things that could happen. Also, I recommend whatever gives you peace of mind. If $1,000 makes you feel really super comfortable with your finances, put $1,000 in. If $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 makes you feel more comfortable. Do what makes you comfortable and lets you, like, as cheesy as it sounds, whatever lets you sleep well at night without worrying day-to-day stress like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? How are we going to pay for it? If you're constantly worrying about how you're going to pay for something if it happens, I would suggest increasing your emergency fund. So those are some of my answers to how much you should have in your emergency fund. It depends on a lot of things, and the more factors you have, I would suggest increasing that to compensate for those when emergencies do pop up. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video on why it's so important to set up an emergency fund and why I think that that's the first number one priority in setting up your financial security. If you like this video, if you got something out of it, please hit like. That helps everyone know that this is a good video. It's helpful. Really like this video, hit subscribe so you can get notified when other videos are coming out. And there's that little bell there. If you ding that little bell, that'll let you get a notification every time I come out with a new video about budgeting, saving money, and getting yourself out of debt. That's what my channel is all about, and I want to help you do those things. So hit subscribe, hit like, share this if you found it helpful, and check out that Debt Snowball spreadsheet and some of those other things down in the description. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day.